Has Western Europe failed on immigration? Not so fast. The idea that Western Europe has botched immigration because of left-wing idealism is a powerful political narrative, but it's not the full picture. Critics claim liberal policies opened the floodgates and wrecked social cohesion. Reality is more complicated. Let's unpack what actually happened, what liberal immigration policies intended, how they played out, and why blaming one side of the political spectrum distorts the truth. The immigration backdrop. How we got here. Western Europe's immigration story isn't new. It's decades old, shaped by post-colonial ties, guest worker programs, humanitarian laws, and global unrest. The 2015 refugee crisis, with over 1 million arrivals, Germany alone accepted about 800,000 asylum seekers, became a flashpoint. But this came after years of steady immigration from North Africa, the Middle East, and South Asia. Communities that, over time, transformed the cultural and political landscape of Europe's major cities. This wasn't accidental, it was policy. What liberal immigration policies actually tried to do. Liberal and center-left governments, especially in Germany, France, and Sweden, have historically embraced migration for a few key reasons. 1. Humanitarian responsibility. After World War II, Europe helped shape the 1951 Refugee Convention. Granting asylum became a moral cornerstone. Left-leaning parties took this further, arguing the West had an ethical duty to shelter those fleeing war and persecution. 2. Economic utility. With aging populations and shrinking workforces, countries like Germany brought in guest workers as early as the 1960s. Migrants weren't just welcome, they were needed to power post-war growth. 3. Multicultural ambitions. Many progressives saw immigration as a chance to build more diverse, open societies. Sweden, for instance, aimed to be a model for multiculturalism, while Germany's Greens championed naturalization reform and integration efforts. These policies weren't about carelessness. They were guided by moral, demographic, and economic logic. But the implementation, that's where cracks formed. Where it went wrong. Critics' case against liberal policy. The backlash came hard, and not without reason. Critics point to several major issues. 1. Integration friction. Rapid migration strained city infrastructure, housing, schools, healthcare. In Sweden, 1 in 5 people is now foreign-born. Cities like Malmö face deep segregation. Some immigrant communities show higher rates of unemployment and crime. In Germany, over 200,000 asylum applications were filed in 2023, a 77% jump from the year before, raising alarms about absorption capacity. No-go zones? Often exaggerated. But it's true that some areas struggle with parallel societies, language barriers, and local resentment. 2. Overloaded systems. Italy's Lampedusa saw 7,000 migrant arrivals in just 2 days in 2023, far beyond its capacity. Welfare debates are heating up. In Sweden, reliance on benefits by some migrant groups has sparked calls for welfare chauvinism, restricting benefits to citizens. Online, posts claim generous systems in Germany or France attract welfare migrants. While most migrants flee violence or poverty, perception still drives politics. 3. A political earthquake. Far-right parties surged across Europe, AfD in Germany, Sweden Democrats, Le Pen's National Rally in France. These parties tapped into fears, some real, some manufactured, about crime, culture, and control. Even mainstream parties that echoed right-wing talking points often lost voters to populists, who were seen as more authentic. In rural Sweden, where emigration, not immigration, is hollowing out towns, the far right still gained ground. Fear travels faster than facts. High-profile attacks like the 2015 Paris bombings fed the narrative of failed integration. The tasting their own medicine. Take. Simple but misleading. Right-wing pundits love this phrase, that Western Europe's liberal elites are now facing the fallout of their own naivete. They argue immigration erodes national identity, overwhelms systems, and fuels political chaos. But let's break down the claim. Cultural decline? Yes, the demographics are shifting. 1/3 of Swedes now have at least one foreign-born parent. But claims of cultural disintegration are mostly subjective. Cultural change doesn't equal collapse. Economic drain. Immigrants often sustain aging economies. Germany's pensions rely on them. The brain drain myth has been widely debunked. Political chaos. The left has lost ground. France's Socialist Party cratered in 2017, but not solely due to immigration. Deindustrialization, elitism, and economic stagnation played big roles. Not just a liberal problem. It's convenient to blame liberal policies, but immigration challenges cut across party lines. 1. The right's role. Angela Merkel was center-right when she opened Germany's doors in 2015. Italy's current right-wing government is also struggling with border surges. 2. Global forces migration is driven by war, poverty, climate change, and smuggling, factors that policy alone can't contain. 3. Economic need. Migrants keep essential sectors running. They're not just recipients, they're contributors. 4. Integration wins. Second-generation immigrants are more politically engaged and lean progressive. Countries like Portugal and Ireland show it's possible to integrate without political meltdown. 5. Policy evolution. The left isn't static. Sweden's Social Democrats now back tougher immigration controls. The EU's 2024 Migration Pact marks a broader shift toward realism over idealism. The real cost beyond partisan blame. Western Europe is dealing with real consequences, fraying cohesion. Urban areas face ethnic divides and social tensions, polarization. The political center is under siege, squeezed between populists and technocrats. Policy paralysis. Leaders are caught between humanitarian obligations and voter pressure for control, yet the idea that this is a failure unique to liberalism doesn't hold. These are global challenges, mishandled at times by governments of all stripes. In fact, Russia and other foreign actors actively amplify anti-immigrant sentiment to destabilize Europe, problems that have nothing to do with local ideology. Bottom line. Western Europe's immigration story is one of bold ambitions, real miscalculations, and shared responsibility. The liberals ruined everything storyline is catchy, but incomplete. Integration was harder than expected. Infrastructure buckled. Public patience ran thin. But center-right leaders made many of the same bets. Global crises keep driving people toward Europe, no matter who's in office. Now, Europe is shifting course, tightening rules, toughening rhetoric. But the real challenge isn't immigration alone. It's balancing humanitarian values with political survival, cultural adaptation with national identity. And no one, not left, not right, has fully figured out how to do that yet.